All right, so before we come to stretch on our backs, I just wanted to, it's funny, I was thinking about this last night, how when I had my shoulder surgery, it was my right arm. So I had to like retrain my brain, or not retrain, but train my brain to use my left arm for a lot of things, and I realized how much, and maybe you can relate to this, how much we do the things that we do in a day the same way every day, right? Brushing your teeth the same way every day, putting your shoes on the same way every day. There's so many things that we do. And, in order to create like different pathways in the brain, we need to do things differently. Like if that's, something you want to do, like I started doing positive affirmations. That's something that comes very natural to me. So I started doing positive affirmations. I noticed a big change in my attitude and my overall just, sense of well-being. And so there's different things that we can do to retrain our brain. And one of them is a really simple exercise, and I've been working on this like crazy, is take your thumb and you're going to point your finger to your thumb, and then you're going to switch and you're going to point to the opposite thumb, and you're just going to go back and forth, right? See how hard that is? I don't know if that comes easy to anybody, but I've been practicing and I'm actually getting pretty good at it, right? It's tricky, but so it's an exercise, right? Point at the thumb, point at the other thumb, point at the thumb. It takes a while to kind of get the hang of it, but it's something I've been practicing to try to rewire my brain, because I want to create new channels. I want to keep evolving. I want to keep finding like a higher vibration, So it's just one of those tricks. And I just wanted to share it with you guys because I found it very interesting, because when we think the same way and we do the same things, those kind of channels get really ingrained in us. And in order to break free from that and expand, we want to create those new pathways. So that's just one thing. And the positive affirmations, I'm really a big fan of, especially stating things as if they're already happening. Like my life is just flows with ease and grace. My life is abundant, stating things like that. So anyway, that being said, let's come out to our backs. So we're just going to lie back. And I realize when you're lying back, it's hard to see. So I'm just going to try to cue as best I can verbally. Right, but we're just going to, nice and easy, once you come onto your back, just go ahead and stretch the arms up overhead. This is like, the great stretch of the morning, right? And do whatever you like with your feet. You can point the toes, flex the heels, wiggle the fingertips if you like. Great, nice big stretch, inhale, and then exhale, just slowly lower the arms down, let everything relax. Right, let the feet flop out to the sides, let the arms relax. Right, and then nice big inhale, reach the arms up overhead again. And it's almost like when we stretch, we're tensing everything up. So we're tensing our arms, our legs, and that helps everything to relax, right? When you contract, then you relax. Nice big stretch, and then exhale, bring the arms down. And again, just relax the arms, relax the legs, let everything kind of melt into the mat. Right. From here, if you want, you can bend your knees. We're gonna like just pick our hips up and then kind of shift them over to the left. And then when you come down, bring your legs straight. We're gonna make like a banana shape. So the legs are gonna go to the right, and then the arms are gonna stretch over to the right. And we're just gonna take like a C shape, like a banana shape. Right, the hips are to the left, arms and legs are to the right. If you want to take Kali Mudra, you can interlace all your fingers except the pointer fingers. Right, so you're just making like a C shape on your mat. And just stretch over to the right. And then come on back to center. And the only reason I'm bending my knees is because it makes it easier to pick my hips up. I'm going to pick my hips up, and now I'm going to shift them over to the right side of my mat. Make my legs long again. My legs are gonna go to the left, my upper body's gonna go to the left, and just my hips are gonna go to the right. So it's kind of like a side body stretch. And then come on back to center, and just bring your hips back to the middle of the mat. And we'll take the legs long, inhale, reach the arms overhead. Right, exhale, we'll draw the left knee into the chest. Hug it in, allow the shoulders to relax toward the floor. Let go of the knee, and then we'll just point the toes up toward the ceiling. We'll take a little hamstring stretch here. So if your hamstrings are tight, go ahead and bend your knees. Just take an inhale, and on the exhale, start to gently pull the leg towards you. Right, just think very, very gentle. Back stays nice and glued down. Just looking for that stretch in the back of the leg. Right, and then if you're holding onto the leg, release the leg. We're going to point the heel toward the ceiling, and we're going to slowly, slowly, slowly lower that leg down. Right, imagine you're cutting through something kind of really thick, right? And you're just going to take your time bringing the heel to the mat. Really press down in the low back and the belly toward the floor, just contracting the lower abs. Once the heel is down, we'll take a nice big inhale. Arms reach up overhead. Right, exhale, right knee into the chest. Right, release the knee. We'll point the toes up toward the ceiling. Just go for that hamstring stretch. Right, just kind of taking note of the differences on both sides. Going for that gentle, nothing more. Release the leg. We're going to point the heel toward the ceiling, and again, you're just going to very slowly lower the leg down. Once both legs are back on the mat, just go ahead and bend the knees, right? And from here, let's pick the knees up. We're going to come into a spinal twist. So knees are bent, right? Feet are lifted off the floor. We'll take the left hand across the right knee, and go ahead and drop your knees to the left. Take a twist to the right. Keeping both shoulders on the floor. Gaze is up at the ceiling or over your right hand. Slowly bring one knee up at a time, and we're going to go to the other side. So right hand across the left knee. Let the knees drop to the right. Right, twisting over to the left. And then just bring one knee up at a time, come back to center. All right, we'll keep the knees bent, feet on the floor. We're just going to cross our left foot over our right knee. So we're going to do our reclined pigeon stretch here. So just sort of flexing the foot that's resting on the knee. We want to keep that engaged, and whenever you're ready, you can start to draw the knees, both knees in towards you. Finding that stretch in the piriformis area, the glute. I can see Randy rocking a little bit over there. That does feel so good. Like, for me, it's just nice to kind of have some movement and stretch. So feel free to rock a little bit side to side, right? Or maybe you just want to hold it there. And then we're gonna bring that right foot back to the floor. So keeping the leg still crossed, we're just gonna drop the foot, and then we're gonna roll to the right. So you're gonna roll to the right until your foot reaches the floor. And you might be able to hold on to the ankle. If you can't, it's okay. If you want, you can straighten that bottom leg. And you wanna try to let the knee relax away from you. And you might feel it here a bit in the different area of the hip. This one's always tricky to explain, even in a in-person class, so I hope you guys are doing all right. Right, and then we'll just rebend that bottom leg. If it's straight, we'll come back to center. Right, and then we're just gonna switch sides. So, right foot over the left knee, go ahead and flex the foot. And flexing the foot just helps keep the knee nice and protected. And then just go ahead and draw the legs in. Right, so any variation of this, some people like to hook their hands through and grab their leg or around the knee. So whatever feels good here, and just being mindful of the knees, make sure that there's no pain in the knees. And again, just taking any kind of movement here that feels good, any rocking. Wagging your tail is always an option. I can see Lily. So cute. Right, and then keeping the right foot crossed over the knee, we're just going to bring that left foot to the floor and then slowly roll to the left until your right foot, the sole of the foot reaches the floor. Again, either holding the ankle or not, maybe straightening that bottom leg, and then just allow the knee to kind of drop away. You can move it to kind of find the stretch. And then we'll just bring it all back to center. Right, from here, just hug both knees in. Take a little bit of rocking motion side to side, or maybe take the hands to the tops of the knees, make some circles around. And we'll take some circles the other way. And then we'll get our hips into it by taking opposite circles. So you're going to drop the knees apart, send them away, bring them back together, and then back in toward the chest. So just allow the knees to sort of mirror one another as you move the legs around in that hip range, right? We're getting that full range of this type of motion. And then just take them the opposite way. Knees away, or however you're going, just kind of flip it in reverse. Right, and then from here, let's rock up to sit. So however you want to come up to sit, roll to your side, or just kind of rock your way up, and we'll come into our seat here. Right, we'll take some forward fold. So just go ahead and you can tap your fingers on either side. We're just going to try to lift our spine a little bit. So, right, really inhale, lift the chest. Right, you might want to look up a little bit. And on the exhale, we're going to bring the arms out in front, and then just fold any amount over the legs. Right, walking the hands wherever you feel comfortable, and then just allow your head and neck to relax. Walk those hands over to the right. And coming back to center and then over to the left. Walk the hands back to center and we'll start to walk them back toward the body, just coming back to our seat. Right, from here, it may feel awkward, but we're just gonna switch our legs. So if one leg is out in front, you're gonna send that one to the back. This always feels awkward to me. I always feel more comfortable sitting the opposite way. Okay. We're gonna do that same thing, just 10 the fingers, or however you can bring it behind you. We're just gonna kind of lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together, up, right, finding that spinal extension, and then we're gonna walk it forward. So hands come out in front, up the hands. Let the head just drop into this. And then this time we'll take the hands to the left side. Coming back through center, over to the right. And then back to center, and we'll walk the hands back in. And if you feel comfortable, you can, sitting the other way, you can go ahead and fix your legs. I'm gonna come back to my normal. Right? And then we're gonna come into another spinal twist this morning. We'll bring our right hand behind. Let's inhale our left arm up in the air. Right? And then exhale, just take a nice twist to the right. And release, we'll switch sides, left hand behind. We'll nice big inhale with the right arm. And then exhale, twist left. And release back to center. So we're gonna stretch our arms a little bit. So we're just gonna bring our arms like out in front like this. And then I'm gonna bring my right hand up and over, and I'm gonna turn my palms to face one another and just interlace the fingers, right? And then from here, if you can, don't force this because it can be tight at some point. You're just gonna bring the arms in. Yep, so basically if we turn our palms out to start and then just bring one hand up and over and then interlace, right? And then from here, just kind of come through and then take a stretch, right? And you may not get that far. That's okay, just holding here and then come back and release, right? And then we're gonna switch. So this time, if your right arm was up and over, you're gonna bring your left arm up and over. And just interlace the fingers and then bring it through any amount. So like right about here, I start to get really tight. I used to be able to straighten my arms like this, and I'm not able to right now. And it's not, it doesn't matter, but when I'm stretching, I feel the tightness in here. So I can actually work on that. I can start to like massage these muscles. Like sometimes that works it out. But it's just a good stretch, and then go ahead and release, and then shake it out. So it's right about here, I have some stuff going on. I use my hands a lot. I work in the kitchen here. I type a lot, teach yoga. So I use my arms and hands a lot, but I noticed there was a lot of like tightness in my tendons. So it's kind of cool when you do yoga and you become aware of your body, like what things are tight and knowing how to stretch them and work them out. It's just really helpful, right? So from here, we'll just kind of bring our arms out to the sides, right? Palms facing forward, and then inhale, we'll reach up overhead, bring the palms together, right? Exhale, hands come to prayer, interlace the fingers, press the palms away, lean back. Really round into that upper back, and then inhale, send the palms up. Right, exhale, make fists, and then roll the wrists all the way down. And again, palms face forward. Nice big inhale. If you want to look up at the hands, you can. Right, exhale, bring the hands to heart center, interlace the opposite way, and then press the palms away, lean back, tuck the chin. Inhale, reach the arms up. Right, exhale, make your fists and try to go the opposite way with your hands, rolling the wrists all the way down. Right, and then from here, we're just gonna roll over the knees and we're gonna come into a wide leg child's pose. So take your time, big toes touch, knees are wide. Right, we're just gonna send the seat back toward the heels, walk the hands forward. Stay here for a few breaths, so just breathing into any tightness that you might be feeling, not only in the hips, but maybe in the shoulders as well. And let's take a walk over to the right. So keeping the hips where they are, just walking the hands over to the right. They may come off the mat, just kind of reaching away from your hip. Sending the seat back. So if you notice when you walk to the right that your seat lifted a little bit, just go ahead and readjust. Moving the seat back toward the heels, stretching away from that. And we'll go to the other side. So hands come through center and then over to the other side. Just breathing into any tightness that you're feeling, no matter where you're feeling it, just try to send the breath there on the exhales. Try to sink in a little deeper. And then we'll come back to center. And you can lock the hands in a little bit. We're gonna stretch the back of the shoulders. So we're gonna do this one here where, right, doesn't matter left or right arm. We're just gonna inhale that arm up and then exhaling, thread it through. So you're gently landing on the back of the shoulder. Right, maybe the head comes to the mat or you can find something to rest the head on. Right, pressing yourself up, and then we'll go the other way. So inhaling the opposite arm, and then exhaling, threading it through. And then pressing back up, and last thing here, while we're on in our child's pose, with the seat back toward the heels, we're gonna do our cat-cow. So we're gonna do our thoracic cat and cow. So we're gonna inhale, lift the spine, right, exhale, round. We'll just do a few of those, really targeting the upper back. Then from here, you can just walk the hands back. So we're gonna come into a forward fold. We're gonna come into ragdoll. So I'm just gonna tuck my toes and then make my feet a little bit wider than hips width distance. I'm gonna start with really, really bent knees and just grab my elbows and let my head hang down. And if you want to take any movements here, maybe just kind of swirl the elbows around or shake the head, whatever feels good. And really focusing on the low back here. So when your torso is resting on your thighs, it really allows the back to just kind of open up here, making some space and room in those lower vertebrae. And then go ahead and release the hands down to the floor. And we're gonna take it a little bit wider. So we're gonna come into more of like a wide leg forward fold. So you can start to bring the feet out a little bit wider, right? And we're gonna just take that same fold. So maybe if your hands don't reach the floor, you can use like a block or, you know, even come to a chair. Try to let the head go here. Really let the head and neck just drop down. And then we'll start to bring the feet closer together. Right, go ahead and bend the knees. You can even bring your hands to the tops of the knees and then just help yourself up to stand. I've been doing that a lot lately. I sometimes get very dizzy when I come from like squatting down to standing. I get that like, whoa. So I've been trying to really practice coming up nice and slow. Right, so once we're standing, let's just take, we're gonna practice a little bit of balance here. And I'm just trying to think of what I want to do this morning. You know, we're just going to do a variation of Natarajasana. So this one is going to be, actually, you know what, we're going to do Garudasana. So we're going to bring our legs, we're going to cross the right foot over the left leg, right? So if you want to stay here, this is where you're going to stay with the legs. So if you're really unsteady, I would recommend staying here. If you want to go a little further, go ahead and bend the knee. Right, you could lift that right leg up off the floor. The last step would be to hook the foot around the calf, but that's really tricky. So right leg is over left, we're gonna bring our arms out to the side. Right arm is gonna come under the left arm. We're just gonna hug our shoulders. I know we've done this one times. If you're able, you know, take your eagle arm, so grabbing your left thumb, and then just really squeeze and hug everything in toward the center line of the body. Pick something to stare at that's not moving, that you can just really fix your gaze on. And then slowly release. So we're just going to take the arms out, unwrap the legs, yeah? And then just move it around. Right? When you're ready, we'll do the other side. So it's sometimes, you know, we have the legs, but we don't have the arms. We have the arms, we don't have the legs. Some people like to come into the arms first and then the legs. I've always liked to come into the legs first and then. So, you know, it's all like personal preference here. So I'm just gonna cross my left foot over my right, and I can keep it right there if that's gonna help me stay steady. If you wanna go further, bend the knee. Right, last step would be to hook the foot around. So hooking the foot around, you really have to get pretty deep bend, and you don't want to be mindful of the knee. So left leg is over right. Bring the arms out. Left arm is going to come under the right arm. Right, either hugging the shoulders or taking your eagle arms, and then find that steadiness, that drishti, that concentration. One of my favorite yoga instructors in Connecticut used to say, hug kind of hugging your muscle to the bone here. You're like shrink wrapping your muscles, just hugging everything in. And again, let's just kind of slowly release, just take it out, right? I love, Joan, how you bring the arms out. We used to come out of eagle and just like let everything fly and say like, let your eagle fly away. It just feels nice. And then sort of shake it out here. We're gonna combine two poses. So we're gonna combine our tree pose and our eagle pose. So it's like there's an eagle sitting in our tree, so to speak. Right, so we're gonna ground down to the left foot or right, it doesn't matter. This whole Zoom thing, you guys can do what you like. I'm gonna lean on the left, so I'm just gonna flatten my left foot, really try to get grounded down here. And again, we can offer up this kickstand method. We could bring the foot to the shin, or we can bring the foot on the inside of the thigh. Okay. And instead of taking our hands to prayer, we're gonna come into our eagle. So we're gonna bring our arms out to the side, and we're gonna bring our right arm onto the left arm. Maybe hug onto the shoulders, right? Or maybe take your eagle arms. Just holding steady here. Really want to challenge yourself, you can start to gaze up toward the ceiling. I find it's a lot harder with my arms in eagle than it normally is, because I'm doing something different. I'm kind of retraining my brain, creating a new pathway, so to speak. And then bringing the gaze down if you're looking up. One last test if you want. Try closing the eyes here. It's not impossible, but it is really hard. And then whenever you're ready, just go ahead and release. Right, shake out the legs. Go from side to side, whatever feels good here. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So whichever foot, right, we're gonna switch to the other. Find your tree, whatever variation works for you. And once you have your legs established, this time, right, left arm is gonna come under the right. Finding your, either the tops of your shoulders or your eagle arms. Find some steadiness here. Going with it wherever you like. So if you shifted the gaze up last time, maybe try it on this side. You always want to move the eyes slowly. If you tried closing the eyes, maybe you want to try to close the eyes on this. When you're ready, just go ahead and release. Right, shake it out a little bit. And then let's bring the legs a little bit wide. They don't have to be crazy wide. We're just going to work on, so I'm going to, what am I going to do here? I'm going to point one of my toes is going to go toward the side. So I'm pointing my right toes toward the front of the mat. I'm going to lean into my leg and then point the other toe up toward the ceiling. And I'm just going to shift from side to side. I probably over-explained that. So it's really not that hard. Just like this. I guess the toes are pointing out, right? Just side to side. This is a variation on Skandasana. So I'm just going to kind of move from side to side. You'll notice it takes, a little bit of quadricep strength here to go from side to side. Getting a nice stretch on the inner part of the leg. Right, so if your hands are to your legs right here, where my hands are kind of like on my legs, I'm going to see if I can bring my hands to prayer and do the same thing. So from side to side, right? It doesn't have to be a great big lunge. It can be just a little bit of motion from side to side. Right, and then, good, and then we'll just come back to center. right? And we'll keep the feet, we're gonna keep the feet a little bit wide again. Go ahead and bend the knees, just like you're kind of coming into a football huddle. We're just gonna discuss the next play here. All right, so we're gonna press the knees away, and you're just gonna drop one shoulder in. It should feel good. And you can even press your knee away from you. See how I'm like kind of pushing my knee away? And then just come up and over into the other side. Right, so my arm is actually straight, and I'm pushing, just going side to side here. Right, and then back to center, and then just come up to stand. Right, we're gonna keep our feet wide here. So it's funny how all of our poses have different shapes, and like I come into a stance like this, and I think of all the things that we can do in this sort of stance. So the next one that came to mind was our goddess pose. So goddess pose, it's a little tricky. My toes are pointing out. I'm gonna drop my seat down like I'm going to sit in a chair. I want to keep my back flat, so I don't want to come forward. I want to keep my back flat, and then I'm going to bring my arms up like goalposts. So this is a tough one. My elbows aren't down here; they're up nice and high. Again, a football theme. now we're making a goal. That was our plan in our huddle. And then from here, if you want, try to come up onto the toes. Good. Awesome. And then slowly lower the heels and then come up and just release the arms. Go ahead and shake that out. That's a really tough one, goddess, to hold it. I've had some teachers hold us there for like what felt like 5 minutes. I'm like, you're sweating and all your muscles are shaking. All right, so while we're standing, let's do one more balance pose. This one we're gonna do like standing one-legged. So if you need a wall or something to hold on to, I would recommend going over to the wall. I'm gonna root down on my left foot, and then I'm just gonna bend the knee and grab the outside of my right leg. If you can grab the inside. So you kind of like you're serving a tray, reach back, grab the inside of the foot, right? That might be a bit much. So if it is, just go ahead and grab the outside. And then I'm gonna kind of look down at my knees and make sure that they're right next to one another. My leg isn't out to the side, and I'm going to bring my opposite arm out like this. What tends to happen in this pose is we do one of these, like the whole body just sort of tilts down. But what I really want to do is I want to kick my foot into my hand so that my heel is moving away from my body. And instead of pointing down, I want to reach up. Right, so if you're on a wall here, just worry about the leg part, don't worry about the arm. And then just kick up and try to level off the hips, because that right hip is gonna wanna hike up. Right, and then slowly release. This is called Natarajasana, dancer pose. And then just shake it out. Right, so if I'm using a wall, I just place one hand on the wall. I just work on the leg part. People do it in the studio all the time. So again, just however you want to take your grip, outside, right, or inside, knees together, opposite arm out in front. Again, I'm kicking, so my knee is moving back, and I'm kicking my hand away from me. So to create a nice opening in the front of the shoulder, and then I'm gonna just keep kicking. Think about your toes sticking up away and up toward the ceiling. And again, leveling off the hips because I can feel my left hip wanting to hike up. And then just slowly releasing. Right, so Natarajasana is actually a back bend, right? So we don't think about it being a back bend. So this is why I say when we go here, we're not back bending. So you want to find that curve in the back, right? And then just go ahead and release. Right, we'll do a quick flow here. I know we're kind of running out of time, but we're really warmed up and stretched out, so I thought it would be nice to do just a quick, very quick sun salutation. So we'll just come to the front of the mat, we'll start with our hands at prayer, and then just take a nice big stretch up, right? Reach up, really engage your belly and your seat muscles, And then exhale, come down gentle. Bend the knees, fold over the legs. We'll step our right foot all the way to the back of the mat and just drop the knee. Place the hands on the floor and then either step back to tabletop or step back to plank. Right? So if you can't quite manage plank, just keep the knees on the floor. And then from plank, go ahead and drop your knees, your chest, and your chin. So try to keep the seat lifted, keep the elbows in close to the body. And then inhale, cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Shoulders away from the ears. And then let's press back into child's pose. Send the seat back toward the heels. Right, couple breaths here. We'll take like 5 breaths here. And then from our child's pose, you can come up to table or you can come into downward facing dog. Right? Either way is fine. You want to stay in your table, just keep the knees down. We're going to bring our right foot forward. So if you're in table and you have a hard time getting that foot forward, you can kind of help it up there. Right? So now we're in that same pose on the other side. Right? And just a challenge, let's see if we can tuck the back toe, lift the knee, and maybe just take one big hop with that left foot, get it right alongside the right. So in order to, if you want to practice that, you just take little hops. 1, 2, 3, and here we are, Uttanasana, knees bent, nice gentle forward fold, and then inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands to prayer. Right, and then just go ahead and release, shake out the legs. Right, just we'll start to make our way back onto our mats. Right, before we finish, I just want to do a couple of bridges, right, which is really great for the low back, strengthening all of those low back muscles. So we'll set it up, coming onto the back, then the knees, bring the heels in nice and close to the seat. Right, from here, let's inhale. I'm going to press into the feet, lift the hips up. Try to bring your chest to your chin. If you want to climb onto the shoulders a little bit, send the knees away. We're going to hold here just for a little bit. And then slowly start to come down. Right, setting each piece of the back down like it's a separate piece until the entire back is on the floor. Right, once the back is all the way down, let's bring our feet out to the edges of our mat. So we're just going to kind of toe heel the feet out, and then we'll take some of these windshield wipers, just dropping knees to the left and to the right. Right, and the next time you're to one side, right, I'm dropped to my right side, we're going to stay here. And this is where I can, if you want to intensify this a little bit, you bring the outer foot up on top of the knee to rest it. Right, so my legs are to the right. You want to try to keep the hips flat too. Like try not to lift the back too high up off the floor. So this is gonna increase our internal rotation. Internal rotation is anytime the knee is in, the foot is out. So right now my left knee is in, my left foot is out. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. And I'm just kind of offering a little bit of weight to give it a little extra stretch on the outer part of my leg. And if it doesn't feel good, you don't have to take this variation. Right? And then we'll release and we'll go the other way. So now I'm going to drop my knees to the left. Right? Either staying here or pick that left foot up and place it on top of the right. So as much as I can, I want, the back is gonna lift up off the floor. We have kind of like a natural curve there anyway. I'm just gonna try to readjust a little bit so that my back is more grounded, and then place my foot. And then we'll bring both knees back up. Soles of the feet together, we'll drop the knees out to the side. Supta Baddha Konasana. Right, so this is external rotation. We're just gonna let the knees kind of relax and fall to the floor. Arms can be away from the body, palms up. Sometimes I like to reach my arms up overhead. Feels nice. It's just a nice open pose, right? Open hips, open heart. Just taking a few deep breaths here. And just take your hands to the outside of the legs, help the knees together, and just roll to one side. So we're gonna come into the twist that we normally start our practice with. I'm just gonna roll to my side. My top leg is gonna come up and over, right? My bottom leg is straight. And then I'm just gonna reach forward with my arm like this, and then just open up. So both shoulders are gonna come to the floor. Right, so it's basically a twist. Your leg is just up and over the bottom leg. And you can turn and look over your opposite hand if you like. And then we're gonna switch sides. So rolling over, I'm just gonna roll this way. I really can't wait for in-person classes because sometimes I feel like it's really hard to explain things sometimes. Right, so I'm on my side, my top leg is up and over, my bottom leg is straight, right? I'm gonna kind of reach over and then open out, right? So just kind of gazing over, just like I would in a regular twist. Try to let that knee drop in. You can bring your hand to the top of the knee if you like to kind of offer a little bit of weight there. And go ahead and release it. And then just take any last stretches that you want to take. So if you want to hug the knees in or take some circles or happy baby, whatever feels good. We're going to start to make our way into our Shavasana, our final asana here. So whenever you are ready, just getting nice and comfortable. Allowing yourself to really let go here. I always say, leave the body by itself, and so just we want to like kind of disconnect from the body. And I know that may sound odd, but when we do that, we realize that we're more than just our bodies. Our bodies are not who we are. I'm sure you've heard the expression that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and what we are is so much greater than just our body, and what we are is so much greater than just our mind, and our mind can actually be our enemy at times. So in Shavasana, we want to go beyond the body-mind. We want to tap into that deeper sense of who we are, like our authentic, true nature. And so we can leave the mind alone here, we can leave the body alone. Even the breath, just the breath will breathe on its own. You don't have to control anything. And we can start to our way out of the relaxation. And however you like to come out of your Shavasana, taking whatever steps to make your way back to sit. Right, just take your time. There's no rush. Coming out of Shavasana nice and relaxed, nice and refreshed. Go as slow as you like. There's no rush here. Once you've found your seat, maybe just softly closing the eyes. And I just want to mention, we talk about hatha yoga or hatha raja. So hatha is bodily mastery. We want to gain mastery over our bodies. And raja yoga meditation is gaining mastery over the mind. Which is why the little trick I showed you in the beginning of class, like just trying to point to the thumb and back and forth, is mastering like the body mind, right? And that's kind of the goal of yoga, to surpass that. And just practicing these different things are going to help us to, try to connect to that inner authentic self, right? Because who is doing the mastering? Right? It's not the mind, it's not the body, it's beyond the body mind. So it seems to be a subject to like speak on, intelligently, but I think you guys understand that we're just way more than the body mind. And from here, let's just close out by bringing our hands to Paramachan Mudra. And we'll close out with 1 Om and 3 Shantis. So if you'd like to take a nice big inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you guys so much for coming.